What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram at Andrew Marlowe Artist Official, or send me an email at andrewmarlowe22@gmail.com if you have questions about the channel in any shape or form. So today, before we get to this pretty epic, amazing book haul, I'm just going to open this gift from my friend Davida, all the way from Texas. She sent this to me about a week ago. Just haven't had the opportunity to open it. We're going to open it with you guys here on the channel. Should be pretty cool. You guys should send me gifts. I do have to open up a P.O. box because if I don't know you all that well, I'm probably not going to give you my address, but this woman just happened to have it from a long time ago. But if you guys do want to send me your address, and I already or if you guys want to send me a gift and I already kind of know you, we can probably make something happen. So what is this? It looks like a cat. Let's open this here. This looks really cute. Oh wow, look at that. That's so cute. That looks just like Pete, if Pete actually had regular normal eyes. So what is this, like just a pillow or like a decoration? This is really cute. I wonder if we could put this somewhere. I don't know if that's going to permanently stay there, but I kind of like that actually. It covers up the books a little bit. But I'll show you guys another little close-up here because it's kind of hard to see from afar, but he does has little whiskers there and his cute little nose. That really put a smile on my face. That's real cute. He's got little ears. Thank you so much, Davida. That's really great. I did put my Venus of Willendorf statue here. Ancient plus-size woman statue here. Hope I don't get demonetized for showing this. This is actually my brother's. He bought this in a role-playing, like a Warhammer set or something like that, and he actually painted this himself. So my brother's actually a decent painter his own self. So we're going to put this right back there. Hopefully we can see her. She's kind of hard to see, especially against darkness like that. Maybe that's a little better. So let me see if I can lift this up without knocking this over. Look at this. So I always say I'm going to stop buying books, but I haven't managed to do that yet. There's always, you know, some good steals at the used bookstore, as well as Amazon. So we're still collecting books, curating some stuff for the, you know, we did talk about the fall reading list, which we've started. We've actually started 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. And we're wrapping up The Entity and The Haunting of Hill House. We finished Oh Lost by Thomas Wolfe. We talked about that last time. Just gonna close my window here because it's getting a bit windy. And we, you know, have Marcel Proust and Booker T. Washington, Freemason book, as well as a book about the French and Indian War, I think, or maybe the French and Indian War. So that should be pretty cool. And this is technically not part of the book haul, but I did want to just show you guys this. I've got a brand new copy of Tear of the Moon. Really amazing, beautiful Native American flute album from the late 80s. I've been listening to this particular artist, Coyote Oldman, for quite some time, and I listened to Native American flute music pretty much every single night to go to sleep. Even if I can't sleep, I just love to listen to Native American flute music. It really just puts you in the mood to sleep. And this particular type of Native American flute music is just very, very soothing and very, you know, there's different types of Native American flute music, and some of it's a little manic and a little too, you know, all over the place to listen to at night. But, you know, Coyote Oldman is really, really great. And he's got some other really great records. So I just wanted to show that to you guys. Still collecting CDs here and there. Just a disclaimer. If you guys have seen some of these books in previous hauls, please forgive me. I'm pretty sure that most of these are going to be brand new, but I may have shown a couple of them. I just can't really remember which ones I've shown, which ones I haven't. So let's get into it. Up first, we have Thomas Harris with The Silence of the Lambs. I don't think I showed this yet. This goes up on the top shelf with all the tiny paperbacks, as you guys can see way up there. I should probably stop messing with the camera. I didn't realize that this was actually a book before the movie came out, but it actually is. It's got this beautiful, you know, fresh paperback. And there's just something about cracking open these little tiny, you know, paperbacks that are just really, really great. I think I got this for $4. $2.50. It's like brand new, never really been touched. So if you have any Thomas Harris Silence of the Lambs fans out there, please let me know. Very interested. Up next, we have another awesome paperback, which I was not aware was an actual novel, is Michael Blake's Dances with Wolves. Who would have thought Dances with Wolves was a novel? But it turns out that a lot of the big Hollywood movies were, you know, prior to being big films, they were actually novels, like Michael Blake's Dances with Wolves, which I had no idea. I don't know why anybody didn't tell me that. I'm sure maybe I saw it running in the credits, you know, this movie is based on a novel by blah, blah, blah. But you watch a movie and you kind of forget about it if you're not taking notes and stuff. This one actually has a receipt still in it. I should probably take that out. Where is it? So, yeah, I'm really excited to maybe sink my eyes and ears into these paperbacks at some point. For now, we're just going to stick them back up on the shelf. Might just kind of do that as we go along here, just so I don't have too much work cut out for me. Again, the whole top shelf is not all tiny paperbacks, but I'm curating a little collection. That actually might be my next video in the future, is, you know, my tiny paperback collection. I think that would be a cool video. I don't remember if I actually showed this to you guys. We have a biography by Edmund Morris about Beethoven. And we actually have another Beethoven book coming up here. We're curating a classical music library full of, you know, Mozart books and Beethoven. Those are pretty much among a few others like Bach and Vivaldi. But when it comes to the real interesting type of guys, it's really Beethoven and Mozart for me. Tons of interesting things, rabbit holes to go down with Beethoven. Haven't read this biography, so I'm definitely excited to maybe get into this into the future. I do have something planned for biographies later this year at some point, but who knows when we'll actually get into it. But it's just nice to have it in the collection. I'll show you this to you guys again. The Universal Composer, Beethoven by Edmund Morris. It has a little picture of the death mask. Beethoven's death mask back there. And actually it has some other books in the same series, but this is just really cool. It's really great to have some Beethoven stuff. Up next, we have this book called Bombshell, The Night Bob Kennedy Killed Marilyn Monroe. I'm super interested in the Marilyn Monroe conspiracies, the murder plots, potential murder plots. So this should be pretty interesting. This was published about 2 years ago, so all the research is fairly up to date. This delves into what's known as the Red Diary, Marilyn Monroe's secret diary, as well as secret police files, FBI files. And this is going to be really interesting. And I wish my mother was still alive to read this book, because my mother was a huge Marilyn Monroe fan. And this particular copy just smells real fresh. It smells like newsprint kind of, and just real beautiful print. So I'm definitely excited to get into this. What a great cover too. And on that note, we actually have another conspiracy book that we'll get to here. But up next, we're going to be hitting some classics. I don't remember if I showed this to you guys. It may have the Brothers Karamazov Beautiful Penguin Classic Edition. And this is actually, I hate to spoil it, but this is going to be on the list for the winter reading list, maybe starting in January, February, depending on when we knock out the fall reading list. You know, so we'll just kind of have to check up on that later. But I wanted to challenge myself with a big Dostoevsky novel. I should probably start with Crime and Punishment first, but I just want to torture myself with this, what is it, over almost 1,000-page novel of Dostoevsky. So we might get into this, you know, after Christmas time and all that stuff. So we'll check up on that later. Up next, I don't think I showed this, Tennessee Williams, A Streetcar Named Desire. That's a picture from the film with, you know, obviously Marlon Brando. This was my mother's favorite play, so I'm excited to get into this at some point. I haven't figured out when I'm going to insert this. Maybe it'll come in the spring or something. It's a relatively short play, so it won't take too long to read. And up next, we have a beautiful penguin. These are actually all penguin editions. These two that we just showed, and then up next we have John Milton's Paradise Lost. Can't remember if I showed this, but I'm showing it again because that's such a beautiful cover. This is the epic poem, almost in the style of Shakespeare, but almost surpasses Shakespeare in its grandiosity and its epicness. It's almost as if Shakespeare wrote a novel or a really, really long play or a really long poem, which he did. I'm not sure what else John Milton wrote off the top of my head, but you know, Paradise Lost is definitely an essential in terms of English literature, in terms of religious esoteric literature. So this should be really interesting to get into when the time comes. Pardon me. Up next we have what is it? Go Down Moses by William Faulkner. And the way this is written, it looks like so down. That just does not look like a G. So I keep having to go to the side to see, oh yeah, it's Go Down Moses. So this, in Go Down Moses, is composed of 7 interrelated stories, all of them in Faulkner's mythic Yoknapatawpha, I don't know how to pronounce that, Yoknapatawpha County from a variety of perspectives. Faulkner examines the complex, changing relationships between blacks and whites, between man and nature, weaving a cohesive novel rich in implication and insight. So this is pretty cool. Haven't read any Faulkner recently. I might have tackled some Faulkner in my youth. We do have some other Faulkner in here. We have Intruder in the Dust, I think, is the other Faulkner that we have, which is actually in the same series. So I do want to try to get some Faulkner in within this year. I'm not sure where we're going to fit him in exactly, but this is going to be great to add to the Faulkner collection. Everybody knows, you know, As I Lay Dying and all that stuff. So up next we have, shout out to my buddy Tom Denny out in Texas. He's a pretty good, he's a pretty inspired reader himself, and we were talking about books the other day, and this is one of his favorite authors. So we have 2 books from the Patrick O'Brian series. I'm not even actually sure what the series is called because I'm an idiot. But this is the first one, this is the first one that I have, called Desolation Island, and the second one is the Mauritius Command. So this is sort of historical seafaring literature, I guess you could say. I think it takes place during the Napoleonic Wars or something, if I'm not mistaken. So these are really nice. I'm not sure if my friend Tom's going to want these back at some point, but I haven't really got around to reading them yet. So I'm going to try to fit one of these into you know, the reading list at some point. So if we have any Patrick O'Brian fans out there, please let me know. I would like to get some of his material under my belt. I'm not sure when I'm going to put him into the reading schedule, though, and I apologize, my nose is itching profusely as usual as we're filming. Just really love the print on these. These are pretty dense novels, and these are only 2 of like maybe an 8 or 9 part series or something, I think. So this will take some commitment, but I just kind of want to see what the world of Patrick O'Brian is all about. Up next, we have The Howling by Gary Bradner. Some of you guys might have seen the film. Really, really great old school horror movie. The cover is actually taken from this large painting in the back, which I'm not crazy about the artwork on some of these new editions of books. It's like sometimes I'm just like face palming. I'm not saying the art is bad, but it's like if you look at the old copies of books, particular horror books, they're not as good as they used to be. Kind of like Goosebumps. It must be some kind of weird nervous reaction I get when I'm filming, that my nose starts itching profusely. Maybe there's some kind of dust over here when I start sniffing the books or something. But anyway, we are going to try to cram this into the fall reading list for the occult literature, Halloween literature live stream that we're going to be doing in a couple of weeks towards the end of October, probably about 4 or 5 weeks away. This is a relatively short novel, and I'm almost finished with Haunting of Hill House and The Entity, but I don't want to rush through them because we still got the rest of October to kind of enjoy them. So we're going to try to cram this in. We'll kind of see how it goes in between Jordan Peterson and The Howling, or The Entity and The Haunting of Hill House. I think we could probably manage this, at least, you know, touch up on it and talk about it, because it is a pretty damn cool novel. So that's The Howling. Let me know if we have any Gary Bradner fans out there. Up next, another book that sort of goes in the same vein as this is Max Wallace and Ian Halperin's Love and Death, Kurt Cobain conspiracy type book. There's a picture of the author on the back here. This sort of delves into the the case files and the actual recordings that were taken by Tom Grant when he was recording Courtney Love. Tom Grant was the private investigator. There's a picture of him in here somewhere if I can find it for you guys. I'm not sure where it is at the moment, but yeah, most of you guys have seen Court and Courtney and maybe read, you know, some of the other books surrounding the Cobain conspiracy. So this is going to be really interesting, and I do plan on doing maybe some type of topical video about weird occult celebrity deaths. I think that would be really, really interesting. This might actually make a cool thumbnail. So maybe we'll use that for the thumbnail. We'll see how it goes. And okay, so those are the conspiracy books. Up next, we have In Our Time by Ernest Hemingway. And I got this book. This is a collection of Ernest Hemingway short stories. And the reason that I got this was during the editing process of my own novel that I've been working on like a dog. I told you guys a couple months ago we finished the novel, but now it's probably going to take at least another 6 months, possibly a year, just to edit the damn thing. But I wanted to sort of get some inspiration from our good friend Hemingway on how to really just write really concise, really precise prose. I don't like how sparse Hemingway tends to be, but I like somewhere in between Hemingway, maybe somebody like Thomas Wolfe, you know, take the best of both authors and sort of combine your own style of writing, right? So this is, I believe, the first collection that Ernest Hemingway ever published, and I just like how plain Jane this particular edition is. It's just right to the point, just like Ernest Hemingway's writing. You know, here's an example. Everybody was drunk. The whole battery was drunk, going along the road in the dark. We were going to the Champagne. The lieutenant kept riding his horse out into the fields and saying to him, "I'm drunk, I tell you, mon boy. Oh, I am so soused." We went along the road all night in the dark, and adjutant kept riding up alongside my kitchen and saying, "You must put it out. It is dangerous. It will be observed." We were 50 kilometers from the front, but the adjutant worried about the fire in my kitchen. So just real precise prose. You know, he doesn't bullshit. And I think Hemingway is a little too sparse sometimes. You know, he cuts off too much of the meat, so to speak, and all you have is the bare bones. Sort of like Bukowski, but Bukowski does it in a slightly more entertaining manner, in my opinion. But it's been a while since I've read Hemingway, so I think I might use this as sort of an entry point just to kind of get back into Hemingway. Up next, we have some the last of the collection. These 3 beautiful paperbacks, and actually look really gorgeous together. I don't think they're going to stay together in the collection, but we'll see. Can't remember if I showed this. I might have. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, 50th anniversary edition by Ken Kesey. Some of you guys might have seen the film with Jack Nicholson. If we have any fans or aficionados of this novel, please let me know. This is a beautiful brand new copy that I got for like $13. Picture of the author here. Beautiful green and red paperback there. Just really awesome stuff. So this kind of goes in, I guess, sort of the vein of like, you know, postmodern literature. I don't mean that in like politically postmodern, but sort of postmodern with like, you know, Aldous Huxley and perhaps, you know, the other guy. Not futuristic literature per se in terms of Ken Kesey, but maybe this is sort of in that vein of sort of occult, futuristic, you know, psyop literature, I guess you could say. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So we'll be checking up on that later. Up next, we have this beautiful. I've been trying to get my hands on this for a while. It kept slipping my mind to order this. I used to have a paperback copy of this, Maynard Solomon's Beethoven. This is probably the first and foremost, not the first, but probably the foremost, probably best, one of the best Beethoven biographies that have been written in the last 50 years. There might be some better ones out there now. But this one, I just remember how great this one was. Talks about Beethoven's romantic relationships, talks about his relationships with his father. Just a really beautiful hardcover edition of this. I was lucky to find this on Amazon. I had to search a little bit for it. But this is Maynard Solomon's Beethoven. It's got some beautiful illustrations of Beethoven himself in here. And I'm excited to maybe curate eventually a Beethoven live stream or a Beethoven series or a Beethoven video we'll kind of see how it goes. I just remember how beautiful the print was in this particular edition. Like I said, I used to have a paperback, but it's really great to have a beautiful hardcover edition. Got a little bit of some adhesive up at the top. I just scratched it off. So this is going to go beautifully with, he actually wrote a biography about Mozart as well, which I have a beautiful paperback edition of, but I might try to see if I can find a hardcover edition. And last but not least, we have our first Toni Morrison novel in the collection. We have Beloved. And I passed this by in the bookstore a couple different times, and I finally decided to break down and get it because we need to expand the horizons with our literature, read some women. And I think Toni Morrison's a pretty interesting place to start. She's a little bit of a Marxist, right? A little bit of a social justice warrior, but I'm interested to see what the big rave is about Toni Morrison. This has some interesting art on this particular edition. Beloved by Toni Morrison. So if we have any Toni Morrison aficionados out there, let me know. I read one of her books in one of my writing classes. I remembered it was pretty decent. It's kind of hard to enjoy literature in a writing class though, or a literature class, because they just overanalyze it to death. This has proliferated sort of you know, pages there. And that's pretty much wraps up the book haul. I got a big mess of books here. I got to restack and reorganize. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and we'll talk to you guys very soon.